Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So, continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 8th chapter, prayers by Queen Kuntī and Parīkṣit saved, text 13 onwards. So, I got a question today that Ashwatthama was already punished and humbled by Pandavas. So, when was this Brahmastra released by him? So, this Brahmastra was released after Krishna and all the Pandavas, they came back to Hastinapur. And now Krishna was about to leave Hastinapur and go to Dwarka. So quite some time had elapsed after Ashwatthama was humbled over there, but he still hadn't learned his lesson and he was still so envious in his heart. So his idea was to release this Brahmastra and kill the last Pandav, this boy Parīkṣit, who was in the womb of Mother Uttara. And that was really a heinous crime, because earlier he had killed 5 sons who were not even in the battlefield, but they were grown-up sons at least. But now he was going to kill this boy in the womb of his mother, where he was completely helpless. So this was even worse crime than anything else. And that is the reason Ashwatthama is still roaming around with the wound and the blood and pus coming out of his wound from his forehead. Okay, text 13. Vyasnam vikshya tatte sham ananya vishyatmanam sudarshanena swasrena swanam raksham vedad vibhu. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who were fully surrendered souls, at once took up his Sudarshan Chakra to protect them. The Brahmastra, the supreme weapon released by Ashwatthama, was something similar to the nuclear weapon, but with more radiation and heat. The Brahmastra is a product of a more subtle science, being the product of a finer sound, a mantra recorded in the Vedas. Another advantage of this weapon is that it's not blind like the nuclear weapon, because it can be directed only to the target and nothing else. Ashwatthama released the weapon just to finish all the male members of the Pandu family. Therefore, in one sense, it was more dangerous than the atomic bombs, because it could penetrate even the most protected place and would never miss the target. So that's how this Brahmastra, it would even penetrate the most protected place in the planet and never miss the target. Knowing all this, Lord Shri Krishna at once took up his personal weapon to protect his devotees, who did not know anyone other than Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has clearly promised that his devotees are never to be vanquished, and he behaves according to the quality or degree of the devotion service rendered by the devotees. Here, the word Ananya Vishyatmanam is significant. The Pandavas were 100% dependent on the protection of the Lord. Although they were all great warriors themselves, but the Lord neglects even the greatest warriors and also vanquishes them in no time. When the Lord saw that there was no time for the Pandavas to counteract the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama, he took up his weapon even at the risk of breaking his own vow. Although the battle of Kurukshetra was almost finished, still, according to his vow, he shouldn't have taken up his own weapon. But the emergency was more important than the vow. He is better known as Bhaktavatsal, or the lover of his devotee, and thus he preferred to continue as Bhaktavatsal than to be a worldly moralist who never breaks his solemn vow. So Prabhupada is writing, although the war was almost over and Krishna was going to leave for Dwarka, but According to his vow, he shouldn't have taken up the weapon again. But to protect his devotees, he did that because he knew Arjun and other Pandavas. They had just drawn their regular weapons. They hadn't drawn Brahmastra to counteract this Brahmastra. So there was no time. So Krishna took out his Sudarshan Chakra to protect Parikshit in the womb. Antastha sarvabhutanam atma yogeshwaro harihi swamayaya vrinod bharmam vairatyah kurutantave. The Lord of Supreme Mysticism, Sri Krishna, resides within everyone's heart as a Paramatma. As such, just to protect the progeny of the Kuru dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. So here, although Sutta Goswami is saying that Krishna covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy, but some places it is mentioned that Krishna, although he left Sudarshan Chakra outside to counteract Brahmastra, but he himself entered the embryo of Mother Uttara and he circled around this womb, this embryo. I mean, he entered the womb of Mother Uttara and he circled around the embryo with his club in his hand. So idea was, Acharyas explained, so he was thinking, even if the Sudarshan Chakra fails, although Sudarshan never fails, even if Sudarshan Chakra fails and if the Brahmas come inside the womb, I'll protect this embryo from the heat or from the attack of Brahmastra. So much he loves his devotees. The Lord of Supreme Mysticism can simultaneously reside within everyone's heart or even within the atoms by his Paramatma feature, his plenary portion. Therefore, from within the body of Uttara, he covered the embryo to save Maharaj Parīkṣit and protect the progeny of Maharaj Kuru, of whom King Pandu was also a descendant. Both the sons of Dhritarashtra and those of Pandu belong to the same dynasty of Maharaj Kuru. Therefore, both of them were generally known as Kurus. But when there were differences between the two families, the sons of Dhritarashtra was known as Kurus, whereas the sons of Pandu were known as Pandavas. So he was going to save, no matter what happens, he was going to save Maharaj Parīkṣit. Yadabhyastram brahmashiras tamogham cha pratikriyam vaishnavam tej asadya samshamyad bhrigudvaha. O Shonak, glory of Bhrigu's family, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama was irresistible and without check or counteraction, it was neutralized and foiled when confronted by the strength of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Brahm Jyoti or the glowing transcendental effulgence is resting on Lord Shri Krishna. In other words, the glowing effulgence known as Brahma Tejas is nothing but the rays of the Lord, just as the sun rays are the rays of the sun disk. So this Brahma weapon also, although materially irresistible, could not surpass the supreme strength of the Lord. The weapon called Brahmastra, released by Ashwatthama, was neutralized and foiled by Lord Shri Krishna by his own energy. That is to say, he did not wait for any other's help because he is absolute. So, by his own energy, by his own supreme potency, he neutralized this Brahmastra. And in fact, later on it is mentioned that the name of Parīkṣit was Parīkṣit because he used to do Pariksha. He used to examine everybody. What he was examining when he came out of the womb, when he grew up a little, he was always looking at everybody that who it was who saved me when I was in the womb of my mother. He was always trying to match who was that person because he never forgot Krishna, Krishna's face protecting Ambrish when protecting Parīkṣit when Parīkṣit saw him in the womb. So he never forgot. And as soon as he saw Krishna, then he realized that he is the one whom I saw in the womb. So that's why his name was called. He was named as Parīkṣit. Mamansta hetad ashcharyam sarvashriyam yechute yedam mayaya devya srijati vati hantyajaha. O Brahmins, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he creates, maintains, and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn. The activities of the Lord are always inconceivable to the tiny brain of the living entities. Nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord, but all his actions are wonderful for us, and thus he is always beyond the range of our conceivable limits. So that is Krishna. He can do anything and everything. No one is equal to or greater than him. He is unrivaled. That is Krishna. ब्रह्म तेजो विनिर्मुक्तैरात्मजः स कृष्णया प्रयाणाभिमुखं कृष्णम् इदम् आह पृथा sati. Thus saved from the radiation of the Brahmastra, Kunti, the chaste devotee of the Lord, and her 5 sons, and Draupadi addressed Lord Krishna as he started for home. So Sud Goswami is pretty much doing fast forwarding here because I'm pretty sure after they were saved from Brahmastra, so many things must have happened. And now he is fast forwarding that Krishna is again starting for Dwarka and he is approached by Kunti and 5 sons and Draupadi. Kunti is described herein as Sati or chaste due to her unalloyed devotion to Lord Sri Krishna. So that is the real definition of being a Sati or chaste, one who has unalloyed devotion to Sri Krishna. Her mind will now be expressed in the following prayers for Lord Sri Krishna. A chaste devotee of the Lord does not look to others, namely any other living being or demigod, even for deliverance from danger. That was all along the characteristic of the holy family of the Pandavas, of the whole family of the Pandavas. They knew nothing except Krishna, and therefore the Lord was always ready to help them in all respects and in all circumstances. That is the transcendental nature of the Lord. He reciprocates the dependence of the devotee. One should not, therefore, look for help from imperfect living beings or demigods, but one should look for all help from Lord Krishna, who is competent to save his devotees. Such a chaste devotee also never asks the Lord for help, but the Lord, out of his own accord, is always anxious to render it. So, this is the special relationship between Krishna and his devotees. Devotees are always dependent on him, but they never ask him for help, and Krishna is more than happy to help, or more than happy to protect his devotees. Some test will always be there. That's a different story. He has to test his devotees. He always puts his most dear devotees, puts them in more trouble, he puts them through more tests, so they are more glorified. And then now look at the prayers of Queen Kunti. Amazing prayers. She speaks. Text 18. Kunti Vacha. Namasya Purusham Tvadyam Ishwaram Prakriti Param Alaksham Sarva Bhutanam Antarbahiravastitam. Now, Mother Kunti is a Bua of Krishna. So, and she is praying to Krishna because she knows Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So she starts with, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you. Now the aunt is paying obeisances to her nephew. Because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything. Yet you are invisible to all. So you are within everything because as Paramatma you have entered each and every atom. And you are without, you are outside because you are here yourself. As a person, you are here. And as like all the 3 Vishnus forms, you are always there. But yet you are invisible to all. Nobody can really see you or perceive you. So here, from this shloka onwards, all the purports are taken from this book, Teachings of Queen Kunti, that Prabhupada wrote. So these are the lectures that Prabhupada gave So he did not write purport, special purport, just like he wrote for the other verses. So devotees took the lectures and they put them as it is in the purport. Srimati Kunti Devi was quite aware that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, although he was playing the part of her nephew. Such an enlightened lady could not commit a mistake by offering obeisances unto her nephew. Therefore, she addressed him as the original Purusha beyond the material cosmos. So he is the original Purusha. Purusha means from him comes everything. And he is the original person. Although he's playing the part of part of her nephew, but she knew who he is. Although all living entities are also transcendental, they are neither original nor infallible. The living entities are apt to fall down under the clutches of material nature, but the Lord is never like that. In the Vedas, therefore, he is described as the chief among all living entities. Nityo Nityanam, Chetnas Chetana. Then again, he is addressed as Ishvara or the controller. The living entities or the demigods like Indra, Chandra, Surya are also to some extent Ishwar, but none of them is Param Ishwar or the supreme Ishwar or the supreme controller. He is the Parameshwara or the super soul. He is both within and without. Although he was present before Srimati Kunti as a nephew, he was also within her and everyone else. So this is the special position of Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, I am situated in everyone's heart, and only due to me one remembers, forgets, and is cognizant, etc. Through all the Vedas, I am to be known because I am the compiler of the Vedas, and I am the teacher of the Vedanta. Queen Kunti affirms that the Lord, although both within and without all living beings, is still invisible. Nobody can really see him. It's so inconceivable. He's there. He's within us. He's right there in his name. He is right there. But still we cannot see him. We are so unfortunate. The Lord is, so to speak, a puzzle for the common man. That's why people, they many times they say, no, Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is in my heart. Why I have to chant his name? Why I have to do this bhoga offering to him? Why I have to go to the temple to see him? He's there in my heart. Are Baba, even if you go to the temple, you won't be able to see him. What to speak of him being in your heart and you seeing him or you reciprocating with him? Not possible. Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her, yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Shri Krishna is all-pervasive or localized. In fact, he is both. Because if he is not both, if he is only one, then there is a limitation on the Lord. The Lord is without any limitation. He can do everything. He can be localized, he can be everywhere, and he can be at one place at the same time. So that's why people cannot understand him. But he is both. But he reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. So this is his right. This checking curtain is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the limited vision of the rebellious soul. It's explained as follows. So we are the rebellious souls who have rebelled from spiritual world and somehow we have fallen down in the material world. So Krishna, then he reserves his right of not being visible to us because we are not surrendered. Krishna was visible to Queen Kunti. He was visible to Arjun. He personally rendered service to Arjuna. But to us, we have to practice a lot before he bestows his mercy upon us and shows himself to us. Text 19. Maya javanika channam agyadhokshajam avyayam na lakshase mood drisha nato natya dharo yatha. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna affirms that the less intelligent persons mistake him to be an ordinary man like us, and thus they deride him. It's less intelligent, although Prabhupada writes less intelligent, but in Bhagavad Gita it's called Muda. Muda. Na Laksha Siddhari. Mudas cannot see him. The same is confirmed herein by Queen Kunti. The less intelligent persons are those who rebel against the authority of the Lord. Such persons are known as asuras. Asuras cannot recognize the Lord's authority. So asura is not rakshas. Rakshas are also asuras, but asuras doesn't mean rakshas. Asura can be people like us, but who do not believe in the Lord, who cannot see Him, who don't recognize the Lord's authority. They say, we are the controllers, we are all in all. So they are the asuras. So Krishna reserves his right of not being exposed to them. Just like many years ago, there was an atheist in London, and he would there's a place in London. There's a square, I think it's Trafalgar Square, where people can go and just stand on the podium and speak whatever they want to. No problem. They can say anything they want to. They can speak anything. So he used to go there and stand on the podium, and people, obviously those who are around, they just gather around what this guy is talking about. So he was an atheist, and he would say, I don't believe in God. I don't think there is anything called God. And if there is anybody or anything, any person called God, why doesn't he strike me with lightning and kill me? So naturally, there was no lightning strike on him, so he survived. So that's why he would tell everybody, see, that's a proof there is no God. If there was God, he would have struck me with lightning and killed me. But Krishna is not obligated to kill him the way he wants. Why is Krishna obligated to him? He's an asura. He doesn't even believe in the Lord. Krishna has no obligation to fulfill his desires. Why? Let him die. Let him die naturally, or whenever he was supposed to die. Let him die like that. Because any asura, if Krishna kills personally, that asura gets liberated. And Krishna was not under any obligation to kill this little bitty asura. So he never killed him. Or not killed him by lightning. He died his death whenever the time came. But nevertheless, he died. Whether he died from lightning or died from some disease, nevertheless, he died. The problem is we still don't see Krishna's hand and Krishna's control everywhere. That's the biggest problem. And this is what Queen Kunti is saying. The asuras cannot recognize the Lord's authority. When the Lord himself appears among us as Ram, Narasimha, Vara, or in his original form as Krishna, he performs many wonderful acts which are humanly impossible, as we shall find in the 10th canto of this great literature. Lord Shri Krishna exhibited these humanly impossible activities even from the days of his lying on the lap of his mother. He killed the Putna witch, although she smeared her breast with poison just to kill the Lord. The Lord sucked her breast like a natural baby, and he sucked out her very life also. Similarly, he lifted Govardhan Hill just as a boy picks up a frog's umbrella. Frog's umbrella is a mushroom. So mushrooms grow in the ground, and frogs take shelter of those mushrooms to protect them from rain. So it's a long purport, and we don't have that much time. A purport describes many pastimes of Krishna. And then he comes to the philosophy again. He himself has declared as so many others. Yet there is a class of men with demoniac mentality who are always reluctant to accept the Lord as a supreme absolute truth. This is partially due to their poor fund of knowledge and partially due to their stubborn obstinacy, which results from various misdeeds in the past and present. Such persons could not recognize Lord Shri Krishna even when he was present before them. Another difficulty is that those who depend more on their imperfect senses cannot realize him as the Supreme Lord. Such persons are like the modern scientist. They want to know everything by their experimental knowledge. So it is said there are three kinds of evidences. One is Pratyaksh Praman, one is Anuman Praman. Pratyaksh is what we see, Anuman is how we speculate about it, but both could be wrong. Even when it is right in front of us, we could see it wrongly. So the best praman, best evidence is when Shabda Praman, when we learn it from our teachers. It's not possible to know the Supreme Person by imperfect experimental knowledge. He is described herein as Adhokshaja or beyond the range of experimental knowledge. All our senses are imperfect. See, our senses are completely imperfect. They are conditioned and at the same time they're limited. They're not at all perfect. Just like our eyes, we think our eyes can see whatever, but if there is complete darkness in the room that we are in, can we see anything? We won't be able to see anything. Or can we see behind our head what is happening? No, it's so close to us. Okay, Shashwati Mata, you don't have to look around to see what's behind your head. We cannot see. So that is a limitation. So this is the thing. We cannot even see the thing that is most close to our eyes, our own eyebrows. We cannot see those without having a mirror. And we think the senses are very perfect. Senses have limitations. Similarly, nose, ears, tongue, everything has limitation. Queen Kunti accepts this deficiency of the conditioned soul, especially of the women class who are less intelligent. That's Queen Kunti's uh, observation. She's because later on we'll see why she said that. For less intelligent men, there must be such things as temples, mosques, or churches, so that they may begin to recognize the authority of the Lord and hear about Him from authorities in such holy places. For less intelligent men, the beginning of spiritual life is essential, and only foolish men decry the establishment of such places of worship, which are required to raise the standard of spiritual attributes for the mass of people. For less intelligent persons, bowing down before the authority of the Lord, as generally done in the temples, mosques, or churches, is as beneficial as it is for the advanced devotees to meditate upon Him by active service. So, foolish people, they say, why you go to the temple to see the Lord? He's not there. This is just a piece of stone or piece of metal. But that's not right. Like previously, we have seen Prabhupada is saying, Krishna can change material energy into spiritual energy and spiritual energy into material energy. For him, it's not a big deal. He can do just like that. So the material energy we see as stone or metal or wood can be changed to spiritual energy by the mercy of Krishna. He can do that. So for him, it's not a big deal. We see it as wood or marble or metal, but that is spiritual energy. That is Krishna. So we have to get this knowledge by Shabda Praman or the knowledge that we receive from the gurus, a bona fide guru. And then we can see slowly, when we are engaged in the service, then we get the eyes to see Krishna properly. So that is a way to see. So I'll stop here, see anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Prabhuji, you told the meaning of sati is unalloyed, the lady with unalloyed devotion to the Krishna. So, Prabhuji, in past we also
To
hear
Krishna.
sati means lady having unalloyed devotion to her husband.
Yeah, but the original Purusha or original husband is Krishna. So don't watch too many Padmavati movies. Watch Krishna movies.
Okay.
Well, that is also that in a sense that's also Sati, one who is chaste to her husband, loyal to her husband. But for then, what about men, so-called men in the body of men, the souls in the body of men? We all are Prakriti actually. Only Purusha is Krishna. So if we are chaste to him, if we don't go here or there, we also Sati. We also chaste.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Subhu Prabhu, any question, comment? Not question, but comment.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. No questions.
Hare Krishna. Oh, Radha Prabhuji, anything you want to say? So I guess we can stop the class here. So you all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji.